Welcome back, friends, to the shop. In today's video, we're going to be testing the most expensive jerry can on Amazon, the Wavian. We're going to find out, does it live up to all the hype? The reason I'm doing this video is it's time for me to upgrade my own cans. I have a dozen of the World War II original GI jerry cans that I got from my granddad that unfortunately they've reached the end of their service life. They're starting to rust inside. The coating is flaking off and getting in the fuel, and there's just no longer an option to store good gasoline, especially for modern engines. You know how finicky they are with their fuel systems. So I'll tell you an interesting story on the jerry cans, how they came about. My granddad was a World War II veteran, and he told me when they were in Africa, the cans that they had they'd been provided by the military, and they were with the British as well, were just not very good. They weren't easy to use. They had some leaking problems. And when they started overrunning the German positions, they came upon piles and piles of the original German jerry can. Well, the GIs, they loved that can so much that they started using them and adopting them themselves. And that's what the Wavian can is basically a copy of that. They have not reinvented the wheel. They've simply taken German World War II tech and just remanufactured it in a similar standard. Granddad loved these cans so much that he was always on the lookout for those in surplus stores after the war. And I remember I grew up with these cans, this very one. We used to take 12 of these cans hunting for extra fuel and for the generators. Just so many memories in that. So when I set about looking for my own fuel storage, I don't want plastic. I'm just so tired of inferior stuff. I want quality like Granddad had, right? And the Wavian was the one that just came up. Guys were just rave reviewing. So I ordered one on Amazon, and we're going to put it through the test and see if this is going to be the replacement for Granddad's cans. Because I have two options. I can either try to figure out a way to recoat these things, but the time and effort and labor that goes into that, it might not be worth it for you. And if you're looking for good, reliable fuel storage, this isn't an option because you can't get them anymore, and the prices are outrageous. They're antiques now. Both these cans are empty. I wanted to put them on the scale to see if just material-wise, if they were similar to the original high-quality GI cans. And this is not the one built in like the 80s. This is the good heavy one like the military would have used. 9.9 pounds empty for the GI can, and the Waverly is 9.3. Let's take a close-up look at this can here before we go into full destruction mode. So this is a 20-liter can. That comes out to about 5.2 gallons. So you get a little bit of extra capacity because of the metric system. Finally, something that it does that's actually a benefit to society. But you have a very different concept here. You have, as I said, I do not believe there's anything new here. This is new, so it's really tight. This is very similar, if not identical, to the original German cans that I remember my granddad had. And their take was different. Rather than having the spin-off type of deal like the GI can, it has this deal, this latch here, which is way, way better. Those thread-on ones were really difficult to handle. You've got a vent in there, and we'll do a pour test between the two here. There is a vent in there that they claim it doesn't glug. It pours out a lot better. Also, this lid is supposed to stay in place when you pour, so it's not flopping down and interrupting your stream like the GI cans. You got that metal thing clanking around. I mean, we've all probably used those before. You're not going to have any oil canning problems. You've got all of that corrugation or whatever you call it in there. It's very thick. Very strong. You know why they have the tri-handle on them? The original jerry cans? Well, when you're carrying them by yourself, of course, you'd grab it in the middle. But a full can, 5 gallons of gas is pretty heavy. And if you have to go a long distance or over rough terrain, the Germans designed this so that 2 men could carry it. 1 guy in each side, one left hand, one right hand, and you could run down the trench or whatever, and you could carry it with 2 people. So that's the reason for that. I can see here on the Wavians, rather than the spot welding like on some of the cheaper ones, this is fully welded across here, fully welded across the front. It's got a coating in there. I called them before I did this video to get a little information, and I wanted to know how long is that coating going to last. Because if we're going to invest in a heritage can like this that's going to last a lifetime, I want to know, is that coating going to come loose in there? We're going to have rusting problems like I did in the GI can. They told me they've been testing them with NATO. They've been in military use for 30 years and they haven't had any problem with the coating. So that's all I know with that. Now, is one other thing, the spout system. Now, I don't blame Wavian for this. This is some American EPA nonsense. Of course, this stupid, hateful safety valve deal. What I'm going to do is, can I say this? Will I get in trouble? I'm going to order the European ones that just have a normal spout because I don't like these. It's not Wavian's fault. It's just them trying to work with an impossible criteria. So they do have this. It clamps on. We can see here just like the lid. Very simple rubber gasket that can be replaceable in there. And they've got kind of a little or impromptu deal where that snaps on there, which is okay. It's not secure. I tried it. You can shake it off. I mean, you would not want to put that there and go overland. You would lose it. You could throw a zip tie around it, but we'll address that in the future. I'm going to be doing a video on fuel storage here pretty soon. And then finally, once this is latched, there is a kind of just a rudimentary locking system on there, and it is very stiff, but it goes in. So you can throw that in there and it's retained so you're not going to lose it. So very nice design, nothing new here. This is German World War II tech. It works, it's worked for 100 years. No reason to think it wouldn't work. Look at the fully welded seams. I mean, it is very, very high quality. Before I totally destroy it, I wanted to do kind of a pour test. I wanted to see how that venting system works because, man, dealing with the nozzles and pouring and spilling gas is such a pain. Whoa. We've got the Wavian full. Boy, this latch, this whole thing just reminds me of my granddad's. He cherished those German cans. He only had 2 of them. He had 2 of them with the German latch on them. I don't know where he got them, but he had spray painted them silver, and he kept drinking water in them. They were too special for gasoline, I guess. It would be very nice to have something that you could pour without a stupid funnel. Is there a funnel around when you need it? Okay, well, there's a learning curve apparently. There's no such thing as magic. So I can hear it venting. You have to be careful with it, but if you don't tip it too much, you can pour it into a small container. This is how the GIs would have done it when they couldn't find their spout or it fell off the tank. Yeah, I mean, we've all been through this before, huh? Impossible. Can you imagine the amount of gas that was spilled in diesel that was spilled in World War II by GIs left in the soil of Europe and Africa and in the Pacific Islands? I mean, yeah, you can get it going, but you're going to lose quite a bit. It's definitely not ideal. Let's see how it fared. That's pretty impressive. Is it leaking? I don't expect it to completely hold its shape. It's not gonna be in its original shape when I'm done. But what I want to see is it leaking at the seams? Fully welded. How they made those jerry cans back in the day is they would stamp the metal and then put the 2 pieces together like a clamshell and then a full weld. And that's the weld's where it's going to be your weak point. But I can see here, I got no water on the ground, no leaking. It's supporting the weight, and there's a lot of weight in here, guys. I got the dirt bike in the back. I've got 30 gallons of water, the whole deal. It's really loaded down, so that's very impressive. I've even heard, now, not recommending this, of course I got to say that, I've even heard overlanders that have used these for jack stands in emergency situations when changing a tire. No, it's not condoned, it's not recommended, but I'm just saying it gives you an option. You're not going to do that with your plastic can, right? You do what you got to do when you get out in the middle of nowhere. Let's take a look at the damage here. So here's where we drove up on it. You can see that it pushed a lot of pressure up there to the top. Got a little bit deformed there on the bottom, but I think with a little bit of pounding, a little auto body hammer there, I could straighten that out. But the thing is it's still usable. I could just assume that the latch still works, and more importantly, no leaks. whoa, we lost some capacity there when we squished it in. But there, now we have a 5.2 gallon. See, we're getting closer and closer to the Imperial system all the time. So I would recommend you do run over your cans. Maybe we need to run over the other side as well. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that landed heavy. This is how I found it. Where did it land? Judging from the dirt, and it looks like it landed right there on that corner. What's the worst place it could land is right on the corner. Even though it is falling into hard sod, but that's 17 feet. I mean, that's a long, long drop. You jump out 17 feet, see how you feel. But we have we have the indentation there from where we ran over it. Right here, we have a little bit of buckled in on the bottom a little bit. But the thing is, it's still a gas can, and it's still doing what it was purchased to do. All right, guys, here's how it's going to go. Now, I am a professional stunt driver, so do not try this at home. We've got about 1/8 of a mile until the mailbox where I set the camera up. Hopefully I can push it out. It's going to fall there. So we're going to try to get up as much speed as possible in the old truck and then let it roll. If this can survives this test, I will be buying several of them. 20 miles an hour, 30. We're gonna be at 40 when we pass the camera, and out. That's getting a long ways. Okay, so I almost met my target here. I was gonna drop it at the mailbox, and you can see here was the impact. We've got the paint scrape there, and it skipped along. Got another, it's like following a blood trail. There's more, just like a blood trail. Down here, I would say it traveled 100 feet, if I had to guess, on the asphalt. What are we gonna find? Okay, so we can obviously see the impact right there, and no leaks. Looks like maybe, did the weld maybe cracked out there, but it's still, we still have a handle. The spout looks completely intact. Let's sit it up here. It still stands upright. You know, boy, that's tough. That's a tough test right there. That is pretty impressive. I mean, it still resembles a gas can. It's a little bit crooked, but the thing is it's holding. So, I mean, you find yourself, this is good news if you're in the military. I mean, if you are relying upon this gas, or you're an overlander and something happens, I mean, things happen and your can falls off and you drive over it with a rear wheel, you can know that you are not going to be left stranded. You're going to have a can that is tough. I mean, what could be harder? Think of yourself. Would you want to fall off a 17-foot tree house onto the hard ground, or jump out of a vehicle on the asphalt at 40 miles an hour? Pretty impressive. Does the spout work? Actually, let's take it back to the shop and then we'll wrap it up. There's really no longer any question. The waving cans are legit. We've done our own testing here. You just never know on the internet. I mean, there's just so many fanboys about stuff and guys that really don't use stuff. I'll put these up against anything. It's going to be my replacement can. Now, how much do they cost? You know, that's always the downside. These are expensive cans. I bought this one on Amazon. It was 80 bucks. Huh? I know. Well, I can go buy a plastic can for 25 bucks at AutoZone. I get that. I got a whole bunch of them, and plastic cans have their place, no doubt. But you're talking about a can here. I mean, look at Granddad's cans. His grandson is still using them. They went through him, his son, I'm his grandson. I'm 3 generations, and I'm still using that can. So, I mean, that's what you got to look at. So you have the security of having a can that you can 100% rely upon. You have something that you're going to hand down to your kids, and just the joy of ownership. It's the thing that we're always talking about. Does it give you the fizz? These cans give me the fizz, absolutely. So that has a value as well. Just amazing, remarkable. There is nothing else that I could find produced like this. I mean, the EPA has basically, not that Americans can't make these, but has destroyed the industry for who knows what was behind it. But the plastic cans, I mean, where's your plastic can going to be? Even if you buy a nice one, where's that going to be in 40 years? They break down in the sun, they rub together. If you were to drop one, it would split its sides. It just can't compare. So yeah, you got to weigh that out. You know, how important is your fuel storage? I invite you guys to become members of the Wranglerstar channel, and congratulations to all you one-year members that have all received your special icon, avatar, the Loctite bottle. I got my own too. I had to wait to get mine just like you guys did. So if you see guys in the comment that have little Wranglerstar stars or the one-year guys, the Loctite bottles next to them, that means that they're members. So if you want to hear my video on what I learned from the California power outages and how that has changed the way that I'm looking at my preparations for things, I will do that for members only, because I've been neglecting you guys. So if you want to be a member, you can go over there and sign up. It's a way for you to support the channel, and I can do these videos. Now, I know it's sacrilege to do damage and to tear up this nice can like this, but the fact that you guys watch the videos and support us with the memberships, I can do this. I can buy these things, and the reality of it is this is still a usable can, right? I'll take my hammer to it and we'll beat it back into shape, and I won't tell Jack how this happened. I'll just put it in with the rest of my cans because I'm ordering more of these. And then he can talk about it to his grandkids about what was Dad doing that he tore up that can. So, and why does it only hold 5 gallons? Yeah. So well done, very nice. I'm very, very impressed. I can't wait to get my old one swapped out and to get that in place. But become a member if you want to support the channel. Don't forget to click the thumbs up, and may God bless you and your families. Keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
Yes.
What have you done? Have you set breakfast?
Yes.
And what do your babies look like?
I
What are their names?
As a candy.
What are their names?
I'm a candy.
Clover and Violet. Can you put Clover to bed and put a blanket on her?
That. Now it's a pot. Yours.